Welcome to the Undrafted Armchair Quarterbacks. We're Jim and Joe, lifelong friends, lifelong fans, bringing you fan-driven sports talk the way real fans do. No overpaid experts, no scripted analysis, just honest takes on the games, players, and the big stories shaping sports right now.
Want you to be a part of it too. Drop your comments, questions, and takes. We'll read them all and we'll bring them into the future shows. So hit like, subscribe, and join the conversation every week for free on YouTube. We'll be on Spotify soon and wherever you listen. Hello,
Sounds
Joe.
good. Hey, Jim, how you doing, man?
Better than yesterday. I'm
Ah,
still here.
Me too. Me too. It's another day. We're not going to, today is the oldest we've ever been and the youngest we're ever going to be. It's, you know, it's a tough one when you think about it. So this, yesterday was episode one, the very first episode. I got some comments that it was great. It was entertaining. Some people commented we can pick it up a notch. I appreciate that. Hey, first episode, come on. First time we ever played Stairway to Heaven. It wasn't perfect, but we're going to work on that because we appreciate the comments, we appreciate the advice, and we take it to heart. So this is episode two. Now, I'm going to call it an emergency episode. We shoot for two a week right now, but this is going to be an interjected one because we've got too much going on to not talk about it. We have to talk about the two smaller balls, baseball and golf, because there is so much going on this weekend that we have to have an episode dedicated just to that. But before we get started on those, we ran out of time yesterday because we spent so much time talking about ourselves and our loves for sports. That happens. That we didn't get to some of the college games we really wanted to talk about. So let's just take a few minutes to do that before we get into the craziness going on in Major League Baseball and the Ryder Cup. How does that sound?
Oh, that's perfect. And
Let's do it.
my
Yep.
boys.
Oh boy. Does that mean there's a game tonight that Florida State's playing in?
And they sure are. And they're on the road to Charlottesville. And they are taking on the Virginia Cavaliers, who are quarterbacked by a very good quarterback, Chandler Morris. And a lot of Seminoles fans, and you've seen it on the air and shows and everything like that, they always have to mention that it's the same scene where FSU, once they joined the ACC, yes, they were dominant in 28 straight, but we're not experts. It could have been, I think it was 28 in a row. And they went to Virginia on a Thursday night. And you can feel the Seminoles fans getting nervous because this one's on a Friday night in Charlottesville. And Virginia upset the Florida State Seminoles that night on the last play of the game, when I can still see the beloved Bobby Bowden running down the sideline trying to tell the refs that Warwick Dunn did actually sneak into the end zone and cross the plane of the goal line to give Florida State the victory. And I could just hear, I could
No
just hear.
replay back then. No replay back then. So you've had to live with it. What would Bobby Bowden say about going to this game tonight, going to Charlottesville? What would Bobby Bowden say about that now?
Well, he's definitely watching from above, and he's probably saying the return to the House of Horrors up there in Charlottesville. Boy, don't believe all those things the press saying about you. Don't believe it. You better, man. If they don't score, we win.
Thank you, Bobby. And speaking of that, I'm shocked Florida State's favored by only 7. You're a homie. You can't even predict this game. Let me do it for you. Even as a Hurricane fan, I think Florida State will. It might be close for a half, but Florida State's gonna it won't even be close. So I wouldn't worry about that. So good luck tonight. Let's talk
Thank you.
about the other. Well, there's one more game tonight. What is it? TCU against Arizona State.
Yes.
Hey, another option if you just don't want to watch Florida State, Virginia, or if it's a blowout by halftime, you got another game that might be close. But let's talk about the meat this weekend. Let's talk about the three games that everyone will be watching, especially probably two of them in particular. But let's get to those. What do you got?
I've got the GEAUX Tigers, the Bayou Bengals of LSU, are heading to Hotty Toddy Land tomorrow in the Grove
Mm,
at the Ole Miss Rebels.
wow.
Ryan Kelly bringing his troops in for a roadie against the Lane Kiffins. LSU is ranked fourth, and they've looked pretty decent on defense. That defense is strong. Will they prove that they are the fourth best team in the country, or are they going to go in and hit, Ole Miss ranked 13th, the Rebels? That's a game we're going to do picks for, and I'm about ready to get my quarter out.
Well,
That's a tough game to pick.
well, it is, except for a couple of things. On paper, okay, 4 against 13. However, if I'm not mistaken, and by the way, if Jim and I ever throw out, stats, records, what happened 5 years ago, just remember this: we are not experts. We don't claim to be experts. We could be wrong. So just like Chat GPT, you might want to fact check us before you throw any money down. However, the home team has won the last 5 games in this series. Ole Miss is home. So that to me is a slight edge because of the trend. But here is the real story of this game, Jim. In the world of you
Tell me.
can't make it up, Lane Kiffin, the coach of Ole Miss, is extra motivated to beat LSU. Do you know why?
I
In the
don't
world of you
know
can't make
why.
it up, his daughter is dating the LSU linebacker. Yeah. So Lane Kiffin has extra motivation. He wants to really put it to LSU as a whole, but especially Whit Weeks, the linebacker for LSU, who's dating his daughter. Now, as a father, I might say, well, we want to be nice to him, but I don't know, man, the way Lane Kiffin is. So between the home field advantage being to the last 5 games to the home team and the extra motivation by Lane Kiffin, probably pulling out some of the deep plays in the playbook. I'm going to go with Ole Miss on this one. They're 1.5 point favorites, believe it or not. So I'm going to go with Ole Miss straight up.
That's a what a great analogy there. I tell you what. So LSU is ranked fourth in the country. They're going to number 13 Ole Miss, but Ole Miss is favored. That just I just scratch my head sometimes on that. Then why is Ole Miss ranked number four? Is it
Don't know.
because they've had some tough games, or is it simply boiling down to it's a 3:30 game at Ole Miss, and but I'm going to go against you on this one, Joe.
Okay. I'm writing that down. Now, don't forget we got a lot of other things to get to. So let's go. That's one game. Let's go to the others. Yep. What's the next one?
Same time slot on Saturday. Oh no,
Yeah.
no, no, not yeah, the same time slot on Saturday. The the two games that are probably going to draw the most national attention.
Okay.
The number 6 Oregon Ducks
Yeah. Okay.
at the Penn State Nittany Lions, ranked third.
Okay.
Okay. So you can go first on that one with do you think the Ducks go into Happy Valley and upset
Well,
Penn
here's my
State
quick
ranked
my
3?
quick thing. First of all, number 6, number 3. Remember the old days where this game might have had some kind of national championship or implications in the BCS. Now that 114 teams are going to the playoffs, you know, does it take a little sting out of losing this game? Yeah, maybe a little. Top 12 go. If number 3 loses to number 6, what are you going to do? Drop to 5? if 6 loses to 3, what do you do? Drop to 7, 8, or 9? Depending what else. There is pride on the line. Oregon did beat Penn State to win the Big Ten championship last year, so that's probably fresh in the minds of the Penn State players and fans. To be honest with you, uh, neither team has played anybody yet. They literally have had exhibition games pretty much, so that's kind of an interesting thing. By week 4, you haven't had one real test until this game. That's it's hard to say, right? But I believe Penn State and their running game is going to be the difference. And so I'm going to take Penn State in this game at home. They are 3.5 point uh, favorites. So that's my pick.
You like James Franklin and the gang to win at home against the Ducks. Okay.
I do.
I am going to go against you once again on that
Oh,
one. I
okay.
think Dan Lanning takes his Oregon Duck defense, his team speed against, up there in Happy Valley. And I'm gonna take Dan Lanning and the Oregon Ducks to take down Penn State.
Sounds good. I got it written down, by the way. If you see me looking away, it's because I'm actually using ink, unlike
Wow,
pencil before, and I'm writing this down so that we have some kind of record of how great I am at prognosticating. Okay,
unbelievable.
our last one, number 17, Alabama at number 5, Georgia. I assume that's what you're going to pick?
I'll go first on this one. That is, again, it's still early in the year, and we've seen both teams play, and Alabama does seem like they're back on track. And I cannot believe Kirby Smart for Georgia is, I read it this morning, so I hope I'm recalling it correctly, is 1-6. 1-6 against Alabama. Now, many of those games, of course, were when he was taking on his former mentor, Nick Saban. So I'm going to go, since the game's back to the Homer call, since the game is between the hedges in Athens, night game, they're going to be ready. Woof, 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 sick 'em.
Oh, well, was that a dog barking or was that an elephant? I couldn't tell.
It was
So
not an elephant
you're
bark,
going with
Joe.
Georgia? Okay,
It's
well,
gonna
okay. All
Ugga
right.
Ugga's
Um,
gonna Ugga's gonna take the elephant mascot down.
um, well, that's the wallet pick. Don't blame you. Georgia's 3 point favorites, which three is kind of surprising. So, to dovetail on what you said to start this game prediction, it is hard to believe that Alabama has won 2 straight, but more surprising because you just think of Georgia as this unbeatable powerhouse lately. Alabama's won 9 of the last 10, which is it's really hard to believe. I am going to say, after watching Florida State just run down Alabama's throat so easily, you know, I don't know how good Alabama's defense really is because I don't know how good Wisconsin is. I don't, it's tough to say. Plus, I believe I could be wrong, but I think Georgia has been missing one of their running backs, Jam Miller, if I'm not mistaken. So he's back between Miller and the great receivers they have. I think Alabama has a chance, and so I'm going to go with the Crimson Tide, which really hurts because my brother is an Alabama fan. I just think somehow, some way, Alabama finds a way to win because I'll be honest with you, after watching Joey Aguilar kind of, I don't want to say carve up, but let's face it, he had a lot of success against the Georgia defense. I think it's going to come down to the offenses. And right now, I think Alabama, I think they're kind of getting it back together and getting it clicking. So we'll see. I hope, I would expect a good game. So
You could
you've
be
got
right
Georgia,
there.
I've got Alabama. So that's it for those three games. All right, we'll see how that goes. Looking forward to a great weekend of college football starting with tonight. All right, let's get to the unbelievable things happening in Major League Baseball right now. And of course, the Ryder Cup officially started yesterday, but the matches started this morning. We'll get to those too. That's underway as we speak. So let's talk about baseball, Jim. We love baseball. We love football. We love hockey. We love all sports. Baseball is coming down to the wire, and I can't remember a year where there were more scenarios still possible with 3 games to go in the final weekend. What's going on?
And in fact, it's really the playoffs are now.
Yes.
Because what stands out the most to me is this weekend the Detroit Tigers, who did win last night to get their division tied again with the Guardians. Well, a lot of
Yes.
people are probably, after that collapse, they were up 15 and a half games, and that just evaporated. Detroit
Not
Tigers.
to interrupt, 15 and a half games like a week ago. And I know I'm exaggerating, but no, seriously, what is it, like a month ago? I mean, it
Yes.
would be, I think, one of the biggest, if not the biggest collapse ever. So, yeah.
Yes, and they have to go to Fenway Park for a 3-game series this weekend. So the Tigers are tied with the Cleveland Indians for the Central Division lead. That hasn't even been settled yet. We even want to say wild card, or we want to say the playoffs are here because Boston has to win to hang on to the wild card to keep the Astros from getting in. And and then Cleveland, they host the Texas Rangers. So Texas is now eliminated because of the Seattle Mariners winning the West, and the Astros are clinging on. And then that doesn't even stop there. That's what's so crazy about baseball this weekend. You've got the New York Yankees going to Camden Yards to take on the Orioles, and the Yankees are tied with the Toronto Blue Jays for the AL East title. And speaking of the Blue Jays, they host the Tampa Bay Rays, always tough. And then the Astros play out in Anaheim against the Angels. So
Hmm.
how many games is that? Five games that are being played right now that are still, have serious implications of who's going to
Yes.
be in. Who's
Very,
in?
very, well, the playoffs are on the line in, I don't know how many, I lost count. What are we, 6, 7 series? So, and it's great. It's great for baseball, by the way,
It is.
because some of the division leaders or tied for division still have, a lot to play for. There's a big difference between winning your division and, winning a wild card spot still. And thankfully for baseball, they've kept that, premium on division winners. You could argue football, the NBA, it's home field advantage is of course huge, but other than buys, it may have lost a little bit of its impact, but not in baseball. And if I just scroll down and look at some of the guarantees for some teams, regardless of what happens with the Yankees, they've clinched the postseason berth. No question about that. The In the American League, obviously, and you have Red Sox are just out of the wild card. Detroit, Houston, of course, 1 game back. But in the National League, you've got Chicago's in, San Diego's in, and then, of course, you've got Toronto's New York's in the American League. But it all comes down to the wild card and some of these divisional races. So if you're a baseball fan, during football season, I always have my quad picture on YouTube TV. I've always got the 4 games going on in college and in the pros. I got, red zone. This is one of those times where they almost need like a red zone for baseball because you're going to have multiple games going on that are important. What would you call it if it was a red zone for baseball? What would we call that?
Diamond Zone.
The diamond zone. And by the way, four bases, diamond. I like it.
Yeah. Or a diamond
I like it.
on her hand or something.
No,
Chicks
no,
love
let's not.
baseball too.
Uh, yeah, yeah, okay. So, yeah,
So anyway,
some do. Yes. Yes. Um, we would love to see the four games going on at once, but my remote batteries. But if you're a big baseball fan, my one suggestion would be, aside from make sure your cooler's nearby, I would make sure that your remote control has fresh batteries because you're going to be, you know,
switching.
probably probably needing it a lot. Yes,
It's a
exactly.
flip switch, and I remember my dad said, "Where's the flip switch?" It's the
Yes,
best
yes,
time of year.
it really is. Um,
It's the best time of year.
I don't know, as far as, favorites and who has the edge and all of that. The Cubs, the Milwaukee Brewers are still looking good. Obviously, the Dodgers, cooled off a little, but still a dangerous team. I'll be honest with you, we can save that for after the weekend once the postseason's decided and where all the matchups and the seeds are and all of that, then you and I will have to have a baseball episode to maybe prognosticate what our thoughts are on the playoffs and all of that. But as of right now, you've got some, in my opinion, maybe not surprising, but if you've been watching them all year, but maybe over the last several years, a little bit of surprise with maybe the Cubs, the Padres, with teams like that. Uh, the Seattle Mariners clinching the AL West. They've been a good team for a while, but just haven't gotten over the hump. Probably because of Houston. So it'll be nice. It'll be interesting.
Right. And it's kind of exciting too that the Cincinnati Reds are still alive.
It
You know? And
it
if the
yeah.
Mets falter, if the New York Mets falter, the Reds could be in. And I believe the D-backs are still alive and they've got to take on the Padres this weekend. Well, the Padres are already clinched with their wild card, so could this be if the D-backs do what they do, but we could talk and talk and talk. So we will go to the next our next episode. We will be talking about, okay, the postseason is set. We're ready to go. And again, this is the best time of year. The baseball playoffs are starting. College football's getting towards the middle of the season where the games are all going to really start meaning more. And then, it doesn't get any better than this time of year. We talk about it every year. Baseball season is very long. And speaking of
Yep.
that,
Well, it
hockey's already
it
in
is long.
preseason. So here we go with hockey
Hockey
again. That's
hockey
getting
just
started.
started.
Love it.
Yeah, no, the beginning of fall, into summer, beginning of fall is a great time of year. We can argue whether there's a lot of great times, but this is hard to beat with baseball happening and with all those kind of things coming into play. It's great, and like you say, even the NFL, week 4, it's like week 5. Though for some teams, and we've talked about it yesterday, for some teams they got some critical matchups coming. Um, but let's revisit. We'll come back to baseball once everything's decided. As a baseball fan, gonna have a great weekend. Now let's talk about the even smaller ball and another great event happening is the Ryder Cup.
Oh,
U.S. versus Europe. So it's going on right now as we speak. If you didn't
what's
get
going
up
on?
early at if you didn't get up early at 7:10, you might be missing the action. Now, if you've got it recorded and you want to watch it later, this morning was foursomes they call it. So there's 4 groups of 2, so 8 golfers, and they go out and they basically play alternate shots. Okay, so they call that foursomes. They call that four ball. It's called four ball, and there's 4 groups. So that's this morning. Now this afternoon there will be uh, some more matches as well. But if you're recording it, then close your ears right now because I'm about to tell you an update. The U.S. is getting their butts kicked right now.
Oh,
Match one, DeChambeau Thomas against Rahm Manhattan. They lost 4-3 blowout. Scotty Scheffler, Russell Henley lost to Aberg and Fitzpatrick 5-3 blowout. Colin Morikawa, Harris English lost to Rory and Tommy Fleetwood. By the way, that matchup, Tommy and Rory, wow, that's a good one. And they proved it. They lost 5-4, major blowout. And it's all down to the last match, which is at the 15th hole. Excuse me. They're through 16 right now. In that match, Xander Schauffele and Patrick Cantlay tied with Robert McIntyre and Victor Hovland. Um, pretty intense match right there. They're tied with 2 holes to go. Here's the interesting thing about this. It's kind of funny how math works. So you got 4 matches. You lose 3, but you win 1. You're only down 2. Not bad. You lose 3 and lose that last one. Now you've lost 4. You're down 4. So 1 match will dictate the difference between whether you are down 2 or 4 going into the next matches. And, it's going to be close. I will tell you this, too. The Ryder Cup results have been kind of incredibly home field advantage. The last 6 Ryder Cups have been decided by the home team, so have been won by the home team. Europe in 14, United States 16, Europe 18. They skipped that 1 year. United States in 21, Europe in 23. Now we're back on home soil, so it's our turn to win it. So it's been alternating fairly nicely. And I have a question for you. I think the Ryder Cup actually gets a lot of, I don't want to say casual, but, obviously golfers keep an eye on it for sure, even casual golfers. I think a lot of, non-golfers actually hear about the Ryder Cup and want to watch it. The competition and things like that are, incredible to watch. Is the Ryder Cup, when you look at the greatest rivalries in sports, FSU Miami, North Carolina Duke, Boston New York, is the Ryder Cup the greatest rivalry in sports?
That's a great question, and it's up there. There's no doubt. I've already, since you've been talking about it, I had a sense of pride in the United States team and this and that, and it's slightly deflated now. But I'm like, okay, where were you when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor with Belushi saying it? And come on, guys, let's go, make it happen. Put the ball in the hole.
The Germans? Yeah, well, we have gotten traditionally off to slow starts. Sometimes I used to think it was intentional to bring it back. I'll tell you this. I've been watching that this morning. Amongst my other duties and chores, I've kept my one eye on that. And that's why I might look like I have one eye wandering. But it appears to me that the Europeans that are playing have way more energy. Now, they're on the road. Maybe that's part of it. Don't forget they're in metropolitan New York. It's been 90 years since it's been in New York. There is a big difference. I don't care who you are. If you watch golf at all, there's a big difference between some tournaments and others on how the fans, act and behave. And the New York fans are brutal. And it's only Friday morning, so don't worry. By Sunday, it's just going to be intense. I hope the U.S. is close and in contention, so we can take advantage of that.
And I hope they can. I'm a little worried.
I am too. I'm looking at some of the golfers. I mean, losing, 2-1 or 3-2 is, when you start talking 4 and 5, that means you were out of it. You lost by the 13th hole. And if you play golf and you're down 4 holes with 5 to go, you probably lost at 9 holes. It wasn't even close on 3 of those matches. I think when it comes to golf, they're all good golfers, just like shooting free throws in basketball. It all comes down to confidence, and it all comes down to belief and all of that. Right now, I'm talking the eye test here. It looks like the U.S. just doesn't have as much motivation. Keegan Bradley is the new coach for the U.S., don't forget. So, I'm sure it's all about matchups, and I'm sure he's got something, planned. But I will tell you this, and it's interesting too, by the way, on a side note, Keegan Bradley was playing fantastic this year on tour, and he elected to keep himself out of the lineup because the captain is allowed to play in a Ryder Cup. So it's kind of interesting.
They need to make an exception for that. He should be able to be the player coach.
You can. He just apparently didn't want to be. So for
That.
whatever reason. You have 12 golfers on each team. Of course, this morning's best balls only have 8 golfers, playing. So you have people like Ben Griffin and J.J. Spahn and people like that did not tee it up. Sam Burns for the U.S., but you also had guys like Shane Lowry and Justin Rose, Sepp Straka, and those did not tee it up for Europe. So, anyways, not much more to say yet, other than we got off to a bad start, and we have a lot of work to do as we move into the other formats this weekend. So let's keep our fingers crossed that we can get some momentum going, because right now it doesn't look good.
USA, USA, USA.
USA, US, I love it.
Rivalries and batteries for your flip switch for your TV this weekend. I'm
Whoa.
feeling it. Look at all this going on.
Rivalries and batteries. I love it.
You're going to be wanting to flip switch to the Ryder Cup, to the wild card, which is really just the playoffs this weekend in baseball, and then college football with all these good games, rivalry games, man, like the Iron Bowl, Alabama against Auburn, USC against Notre Dame. Come on, baby.
Hey,
It doesn't get any better than this.
some of those rivalries are still fun to watch, but I'll be honest with you, new rivalries or maybe just great matchups. Let's face it, Oregon and Penn State, has never historically been a rivalry because of conference realignment. It suddenly is. Case in point, they played for the Big Ten championship last year. So, and of course, Alabama, Georgia is always, a great matchup is in the last, 10 or so. I'm still shocked that Alabama's won 9 of the last 10. It's just hard to believe. I guess some teams just have the other team's number, for now.
Yeah, and a couple other things just before we wrap it up today. Just a quick mention for, our dear friend Mike Gundy being let go at Oklahoma State. I read something the other day which I thought was great because he had the famous mullet.
Yeah.
Business in the front, party in
yeah,
the
used to. Yeah.
our kind of guy.
Love it.
And you know why he kept that signature mullet? Because, do you know why he had a mullet and kept it?
Because he loved fishing?
No. Smoked mullet he said it wasn't my favorite.
I thought you were baiting me, but go ahead.
That was an impressive guess.
Thank
Yeah. Yeah. Because he thought it would help him with recruiting
you.
his image.
Primarily the southeast or southwest, maybe?
No, we'll have to think about that, and maybe we can come up with some reasons, or people that are watching or can send us a comment or a text as to why would Mike Gundy's mullet help with recruiting? That's a good question. We're going to have to post that.
You know what?
Yeah.
That is a great question. Why would a mullet help you with recruiting? And there's probably really good reasons and good ideas out there on why that would. Listen, if it helped with other things too, I would consider it. But I'd have to have some confidence on not only what would it help me with, but how much. Because for a 2% increase in this or that, it may not be worth it.
But kudos to Mike Gundy. What a great career. He had a very good record. I loved how that one famous press conference he had one day when the reporters were already starting to criticize one of his 18 or 20-year-old players, and he just stood up in front of the cameras and talked to me. I'm a man. I'm 40.
Loved it. I know.
It was great.
Throwing out his 40 years. It was pretty funny.
Yeah. I'm a man. I'm 40.
Well, he had a young man complex. Like people didn't respect him because he was too young or something. You
Yeah,
know.
and he was only 40 when he screamed it. I
Well,
was
no.
like, okay,
Well, no, he wasn't only 40. He was trying to say, "Hey, I'm 40, like I'm old as hell."
like
Um,
Jimmy Buffett.
like
Pirate
Jimmy
looks
Buffett.
at 40. And
That's
Jimmy
right.
Buffett's later years, he would
Great.
always say, we're going to do a little Pirate looks at 40, but I believe I've put that one astern.
Yeah, that would be in the rear. That would be in the rearview mirror. Hey, by the way, one last comment on college football. I
Yes.
was just looking at some of the games, and I'm actually I'm going with an upset alert. I
Ooh.
think Tennessee might have a little difficulty at Mississippi State this weekend, and of
Hmm.
course, my Alabama pick is also an upset, of course. But that's the only one that kind of catches my attention as far as maybe a higher ranked team having a little bit of danger, other than the ones that are playing each other. So,
I love
all
that.
right, yeah,
I got one.
listen,
I,
okay,
I got an upset alert. Here's my
what you got?
upset alert before we wrap it up, Joe.
What you got?
The Notre Dame Fighting Irish in Arkansas against the Razorbacks. The Razorbacks took a tough one last week, but Tyler Green is a good quarterback, exciting. He's
Yeah,
fast.
yep.
Could Notre Dame? I can't remember through the years if Notre Dame has ever played in Fayetteville. It, and I'm gonna say I'm putting Notre Dame on upset alert against Arkansas in the Razorback State.
Well noted.
There's their
You know what? I don't know if Notre Dame's ever played there, but maybe that was arranged by the former head coach Lou Holtz, who coached at both programs, and maybe he arranged that 25 years ago. Lou Holtz and Bobby Petrino still hold the only two NFL coaches that quit during the season, called their owners from the airport with no notice, and you can't make it up, but they both went to Arkansas from the NFL years apart. Can't make it up. Mr. Character, Lou Holtz. Okay. All right. Well, that will do it for this episode. We got our picks in. Keep an eye on the Ryder Cup. And if you're a baseball fan, even if you're a casual baseball fan, this is the weekend for you. So that's it for this episode of the Undrafted Armchair Quarterbacks with Jim and Joe. Thanks for checking us out and hanging with us for some real fan driven sports talk.
Don't forget, your comments are a part of the show. Drop them below. We'll read them. We promise. We'll read them and we'll
We
feature
do.
them in future episodes. Be sure to like, subscribe, and catch us every week for free right here on YouTube. We're going to be on Spotify soon and wherever you listen. We need you. We want you. We love you. Love you too, Joe.
Have a good one, man. And I love you, man. And hey, lots of. I hope you hit a lot of home runs this weekend, not just a bunch of little bloop singles. Have a good one.
Yeah. And go America
See you
in the
soon.
Ryder
Look
Cup.
for new episodes next week. Take care.